Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk und neue Story bei mir am Tisch. Scottie Resource. Scottie is a great name, like Scottie beamed the stock up or something. But I'm quite sure it's not coming from this from Star Wars.
No, Star Trek. But it's funny, I'm going to name some zones after the Star Trek movies.
Oh, really?
I honestly was thinking about this just and slip them in. It's
Great.
funny that you're the only one who's actually mentioned that. Yeah.
No, when I see it first, I say, hey, this was the only one I'm thinking. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of them for both sides. So also the Star Wars and also the Star Trek. So I'm a Trekkie. So, okay, but coming back, we are not looking for something in the space, we are looking on Earth. And the second reason why I always want to do this interview is you have a very interesting neighbor that are known. This is Scott Resources. Scott Resources have a pretty good run, a very interesting story, and you are sitting next and in the middle of them.
That's right.
And you coming up also last year with very good drill results. I must say, that's looking really great. So, but fill us in, Brett, fill us in a little bit more about what is the company looks like now. Maybe a little bit history, from which side you are coming and which the project also coming. And then, last question will for sure, what are you planning for 2020?
Sure. So to give you a little bit of history, how I got here today, how I ended up being running Scottie Resources. I got interested in this project back in 2015. Mm-hmm. I started out as an investor in the company, and I live in the area. So I'm one of the few CEOs I've raised my family up close to the Golden Triangle in a little town called Smithers. What really got me, there's two things. It was a past-producing gold mine, and if you're reading, the experts are all saying if you want to find gold, you go to where it's found before.
For sure.
Right? At the same time, this is when Pretium was just building the power line. Mm-hmm. And so I go, wow, look at this. In my community, there's a past-producing gold mine that produced a half ounce per ton, and from my due diligence, it only shut down because of economics. So it ran in the early 80s, right? So gold, let's just call it $800 to $300 like that, but they had a $20 million facility for the Royal Bank of Canada and paying 20% interest. And so that's what shut down the mine. Mm-hmm. So I've had a few plays in real estate where I buy real estate as I know infrastructure is being put in, and I try and secure that real estate before the infrastructure. And then when the infrastructure's in, it works well. I kind of use that analogy with this, and I go, that power line was going right through the old Scottie gold mine. And, Pretium hadn't really got its legs yet, but I just go, that's a $400 million piece of infrastructure going right past this mine that produced only for 3 years, and there's no indication that it ran out of ore. So that's what got me first involved, and as an investor in this company, it used to be called something else. Now, after playing with this company a little bit, I didn't like the direction it was going, so I ended up taking over the company. Mm-hmm. And so we started with 400 hectares of a past-producing gold mine in say, 2016 or 2015. Where we are today is now we have 18,500 hectares with two continuous pieces. So I own, call it 9,000 hectares on the northwestern border of Ascot and on the southern border of Pretium. And I also own 10,500 hectares all on the western border of Ascot, but from the IDM project. Mm-hmm. And so it's taken a little bit of time to do that, but it's difficult. But I've done maybe 6-7 different transactions with 6-7 people and trying to put this piece of the puzzle together. So that's one thing that we did. We accumulated a piece of land to make it attractive and give potential and runway. Another thing that we did is when I got the control of this company and the control of the Scottie gold mine, it was literally 20 banker boxes of data. It was still all in Imperial. No one has ever modeled it, and it was just dusty boxes. And so I physically scanned every piece of paper. I did it because it was just a one-man show at the time. And then I gave that data to a company called Equity Exploration Consultants, because I knew I had this theory, I was really excited about it, but I'm not a super technical guy. But Equity Exploration certainly are well regarded. They know the area well. They do the technical work at Red Chris. They do the technical work Pure Gold, and so they're very really really well respected geoscientists. So if I knew if I had their stamp on their fingerprints on our data, no one would have to believe me if I'm saying, oh, it's great, because there's not a CEO that doesn't have the best story in the world. We all have we're all sitting on mines. So we put together a model, or Equity put together a model, came up with some theories. We had structural geologists in there and going, this thing would just produce gold. They found a vein on surface and they just started mining it. But we couldn't find any evidence of a property scale exploration, right? There's 700 drill holes, right, on this property. Oh, wow. Yeah, it produced a 1/2 ounce per ton, right? But all those drill holes were really focused around production. No one ever took a breath, stepped back, and go, okay, well, let's explore the whole property. Let's show runway. So was the business plan. And so we came up with theories. We modeled it. We were really quiet. No one's really heard of us as a company quite yet. I didn't do a lot of marketing and went to the market. For the most part, I self-financed it for the first 3 years with me and then a few friends, business partners that I've had in other industries. And we just focused on cleaning up an old company. And then so 2019 was a great year for us. So I changed the name of the company back to reflect the Scottie gold mine, because that's what it was. So that's why it's named Scottie Resources now. We accumulated a whole bunch of land that was around it. The real big turning point for Scottie was in April of 2019, where we got control of a land that was previously held privately. So there's no information, right? There's no real reports. I mean, there was little bits of information, but it's, we were confident that we knew our geology was very interesting to the southern border, to the western, and to the north. But this private company had this land for 30 years wrapped up. That changed, and I got very favorable results and got control of this land. So we were really excited. So I had my team go out and then just go do a real good look on the new property. And that, that was happening this summer. My geologists were really excited about what they were seeing. And at the very last minute in August, we decided to drill. And the plan was not to drill until this year because the market wasn't there, and I'm watching all these other guys do a bunch of great work and not getting rewarded, and I'm just going, well, we've waited this long, so we can wait another year. But when gold hit $1,500 an ounce, and my team was finding beautiful surface results on the new lands, and we already had we had a drill program laid out even a year ago, but we just never implemented it. But at the very last minute, I go, we're going to drill. Gold hits 1,500, and my geologist, we can't do that. It's August 15th. It's going to start snowing. I said, oh yeah, we can. And I phoned a guy I know who is drilling the KSM property, because I live in Smithers. All the drilling companies are out of Smithers. And I asked John, I say, hey John, can you fit in 2,000 meters, small program at the end of the season? He goes, yeah. And I also said, oh John, I only have $45,000 in the bank. But then my decision was, okay, now I'm going to go raise some money and kind of open this up. So I went to Beaver Creek in September. No one had ever heard of me. I was going to raise just $1.5 million, and in about 12 hours I got about $2.4 million, and I turned down much more money than I took in, and we drilled. And then at that time, the assays from the surface program were starting to come in, and they were nothing short of very encouraging. They're fantastic. And here we are today. I just put out the drill results, I think, last week, and we're happy. The model's proved out. I mean, there's some extraordinary results. We hit kind of 3 for 3 in 3 different zones, and all 3 came back, exceeded our expectations. One's we would call a new discovery on the Blueberry vein. That came in at 7.44 grams, just over 34 meters, but it's only a 100-meter hole. At the bottom of that hole is still 6.5 grams over 9 meters. We just stopped drilling, and it was the last hole of the season, so we're really excited to get back, drill that one. And then the other hole that we really like was the Scottie gold mine hole, which was a 500-meter hole where equity was going, look, here's a mine, but if you need to drill a 500-meter hole so we could hit this vein perpendicular, because all the other drilling was kind of from underground. We did, so I'm going, wow, that's a big hole just to kind of try and hit one zone. But we hit an 11 gram over 11 meter roughly. I think it's 11.95, but that's right in front of the mine. And so we just, we're excited about that because it fits the theory, it fits the model, and we just extended that vein by, quite substantially by it's about a 50-meter step out. So we've got a lot of exciting things to follow up on for 2020. And then on top of that, it was quite funny. So Eric Sprott actually gave us a little endorsement and came in and supported us and bought 11% of the company. The funny part of that story is I presented my story in November, and you're going, I'd like to see these drill results, and we're going to wait. But I think right at the Christmas time, they phoned and they said, we're really interested in buying a position in the company. And I said, I'm really happy. But I was actually, those drill results are coming in, and so as you can see, I just pushed out drill results because there's no way I could take a private placement from anybody because I had this news. So that's why I put out all the news in about 5 business days, so we could bring in Eric Sprott. And so he ended up buying 11% of the company, but he was interested when it was 15 cents. And so when I put that news out, it moved, we had a little bit of a movement in the stock. And so he ended up buying it 25% more. And we were happy to have him at 20 cents. And that endorsement now is good. It gives us a little bit of cash in the bank. We're excited.
Unbelievable story, but interesting. Then you're in the right area, with especially with the right results. 7.4 grams over 34 meters is really great.
And that's on surface, right?
And surface is only 105 meters deep, so that's really, really interesting. And also Eric Sprott, at the moment is Eric Sprott like a stamp, like positive stamp, yep, is proved.
I think it gives us validation that we're someone to look at. I mean, he's supported some of my neighbors a lot heavier than he has me. I mean, but again, we're just starting together. But I know he's been very, very engaged with the two-door gold story, and Ascot, and everybody knows he's got a good position in the area.
11.5% is 11.5%.
Yeah,
it's not so small.
No.
But what are the plans now for 2020?
Well, we actually just had a board meeting yesterday, and we're trying to plan that out. And if you would ask me that question 3 months ago, I would have said, I'm going to raise a whole bunch of money. I'm going to drill a whole, I'm going to go drill. We also found 6 brand new showings that no one's ever known on these new Summit Lake properties. But I think now we're going, whoa, we're excited. The model's proving out. I think we step out from the 3 zones that we drilled, and then we'll go drill one zone in the new showings on the new lands, because we couldn't drill the new lands last year because I wouldn't have permits. But all that paperwork's in, and so we'll be able to drill the new lands. But I think we're just going to drill the Domino zone for next season, and just step out and follow up on what we found in the Ben vein, the Blueberry vein, and the Scottie gold mine. So it's not a major program. It may be 5,000-6,000 meters of drilling, and because we have confidence that we don't really need to go to the market for that. I think we're self-sufficient. We've got a few little things to do, but it's something that we're excited, and I think that's the best way that we can get value for the current shareholders rather than diluting ourselves right now, because the junior market is still very difficult, right? We're not, I mean, we've got having my little 15 minutes of fame right now, and it's great, but make no mistake, it's tough for all of us. So I think we'll just manage this and just not try and get too far ahead of ourselves and just keep doing what we've been doing and keep our head down, and eventually the market will turn around, and I think we'll get proper valuations or the respect we deserve.
How many shares are outstanding?
Today there's 88 million shares because we just added 87 million shares because we just put 10 million into Eric Sprott's hands. Fully diluted, just over 100 million, 107. And I'm sorry, I should know this off my hand, but that's generally where we're at. In a perfect world, if everything gets exercised and warrants and stuff, that would also represent about an $8 million in the bank for us, right? So we have in the money warrants right now with the financing I did in Beaver Creek. Those are all pretty sophisticated guys that came in on that round. There's an accelerator on those warrants, and so my job here in the next little while is to get there and, rather than issue more shares, I think we can do it with the group and the shareholders that we have right now, and I think they'll be very happy not to go out and raise more money in the market. So,
beside Eric Sprott, where are the largest shareholder?
Well, I'm still technically have more shares than Eric.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm still the largest shareholder. Eric certainly is the second largest shareholder. My board has I believe about 4 million shares, and I encourage people to look at who's on my board because I've got a very, very good group of guys and diverse guys. I got John Williamson's on my board, who's done a lot of junior mining, and I have Ernie Mast on my board, who is more of a big company guy, and a gentleman named Steve Stein, who's an accredited board member, who's not done a mining deal, but he built a company called Black Diamond Camps. BDI went from zero to a $2 billion market cap, and he's an accredited board member. So we've got a solid board, and besides that, it's, a lot of my friends all have about 2 million shares apiece, so they've just been supporting me from there. So it's not, I don't have a lot of institutional support at all. But Frank Holmes wrote about me last week, so that wasn't a bad thing. So, yeah.
Brett, I think this was a really good introduction into your company, especially then we know now a little bit the area. We know exactly Golden Triangle is very well known, is now going really, it's crazy is not the right word, but we are still in the beginning of a market. And I absolutely agree with you that was still the junior market is really in tough shape. So the conference the last 2 days was really good. It looks like that the first people find out that they can invest in the resource sector?
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't stopped talking. I've done just 4 days of conferences because there's a Metal Investors Forum on Friday, Saturday, and then we had a booth at the Cambridge show, and I sat on a panel with Ken Conklin, and I did a presentation. And our booth was, because I think Eric Sprott brought a lot of, everybody now they're interested and they're willing to actually take a breath and go, hey, what's so interesting that this happened? So we were very encouraged. We had a very, very busy booth, and so yeah, it's nice to have that attention and at least put some eyeballs on the story and consider this with all the other juniors. I think. We check a lot of boxes that people want to see if you're going to put that risk capital to work for you.
But thank you for the first introduction. Next time, hopefully you have good luck on the drilling. When can the drill season start?
Well, it's difficult up there. We hope that we could start drilling in June.
Okay.
That's our plan. We'll be up there a little earlier than that. We have some of our southern lands we can access before we can access the Scottie gold. So those lands in around the IDM properties, we can get to those earlier. But before we can get up to the Scottie, because it's right high up on the mountain. In a perfect world, mid-June we'll start that first drill. I mean, we know we have the program laid out, and we're excited to get out there. But the answer to that question is mid-June for the drilling. But there's a whole host of things that we'll be doing before then. I mean, my geologists would like to do a high-res EM survey, and those are things we can do by flying over. And
that
so
was
we're laying
my
that
next
out.
question. If you look like two more geophysics, that was one of my previous question to one of your neighbors. If they're doing technical geotech or geochemistry there, and they say interesting things that in the old days, that's old known mines and so on, but they are not doing too much exploration. They're starting with one vein also and drill and follow the vein, and that was the work what they're doing.
And that's exactly what this situation is, and that's why we brought on equity exploration, because it's data that matters these days, right? And so, as you were mentioning Ascot, now because we're up there and we're kind of the busiest guys in the area, and I drive by Ascot every day when I go up to the mine. They've had really a good part of their success is the IP work they've been doing, and so obviously I'm just going to replicate what they've done because I've watched them do it for a couple of years. That Simcoe Geoscience, I mean, they're having success with that, and obviously we're going to do the exact same thing, right? So we learn from the bigger guys and what works for them and what not. So we'll be doing that science part is what we want. It's all about data. That's what we're selling here, and we think we've got some of the best guys in the business looking after this. I mean, the program head for BCIT quit to come work for me, and he's my VP exploration, and the market wants he's a young 36-year-old PhD, but he understands AI, he understands all the new modeling techniques, right? And that's what I think makes us unique or not. I mean, there's a lot of good scientists out there, but I mean, I think understand that this guy just left a very stable position with all the things that come with pensions and insurance to come to a little company with not very much money because he likes the rocks. And so we're excited, and like I say, technology is a big part of how we plan to tackle this.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. Ja, spannend. Also was mir als erstes gut gefällt, ist der Name. Ich bin ein alter Star Trek-Fan, Star Wars-Fan. Der Name finde ich super. Da wird hoffentlich den Share-Price auch hochbeamen. Zwei Dinge, die interessant sind, oder mehrere Dinge, die interessant sind. Erstens einmal die Historie, wie es zu dem Ganzen kommt. Zweitens ist natürlich, dass der Nachbar Ascot sehr, sehr guten Erfolg hat und Golden Triangle an sich sehr bekannt ist. Und schauen Sie auch das Interview auch vom Lars an. Er sagt halt, da kommen halt überall die Venen raus und man hat nie eigentlich einen gesamten Approach gemacht, dass man sich das Gesamte anschaut. Dann, was sehr spannend ist, Sie haben dann letztes Jahr in der letzten Minute entschlossen, Sie bohren doch ein paar 2000 Meter, und die Ergebnisse, was rauskommen, sind extrem gut. Also die sind alle jetzt im Jänner rausgekommen, 7,4 Gramm Gold über 34 Meter beim Bohrloch, das nur 105 Meter tief ist. Und das ist in der Mineralisierung stehen geblieben, und dort haben sie über 6 Gramm Gold gehabt. Also sehr, sehr gute Zahlen. Das andere ist bei ihren alten Mine, der Name kommt von einer alten Mine, die hat Scottie geheißen, und dort waren es genauso auch, dass sie halt über 10 Meter, 25 Meter 7 Gramm gehabt haben, und in der war inkludiert 10,5 Meter mit 11,7 Gramm. Das sind sehr gute Gehalte, sehr gute Goldwerte, und das hat dann einen anderen Herrn auf eine Idee gebracht, und zwar einen Eric Sprott, der dann jetzt letzte Woche oder vor 1,5 Wochen 2 Millionen investiert hat, 11,5% der Company gekauft hat, und Eric Sprott ist momentan so eine Art Qualitätsgütesiegel. Die Leute sind ein bisschen nervös. Sie wollen in den Markt investieren, haben aber nicht wirklich eine Guidance, wo sollen sie hin investieren, und deswegen folgen sie sehr vielen Leuten wie eben Eric Sprott. Und wenn er dort gesagt, quasi die Company hat eine gute Chance, dann glauben die Leute mehr dran. Das Problem, was wir in Kanada haben, ist, dass in den letzten 10 Jahren nicht wirklich viel weitergegangen ist bei den Explorationscompanies. Und deswegen wollen die Leute einfach mehr Sicherheit haben, und das kriegen sie mit ein, indem das so Leute wie Eric Sprott investieren. Die Company will heuer 5.000 bis 6.000 Bohrmeter bohren, will auch Geophysik machen und so weiter. Und das sind die Sachen, die eigentlich den Kurs treiben sollten. Es hat einen guten Start hingelegt, die Ergebnisse sind sehr gut aufgenommen worden, sind auch sehr gut und deswegen ist es nur eine Frage der Zeit, bis das dann quasi mit hoffentlich den nächsten Bohrergebnisse dann der Kurs dementsprechend nach oben getrieben wird. Das war's von Scottie Resources aus Vancouver, Jänner 2020. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.